So it's been a full day of me testing, messing around with Ulmus. You'll see some more videos across this whole weekend as we go into detail with PvP and some other fun scenarios, but I really wanted to get this video out today to kind of give you guys a cut and dry answer. Now again, make sure you check out those videos because if some of these gameplays seem kind of cool or fun to you, he is a really solid tank hero. He's even got some cool little animations here and his little squirrel friend. But I wanted to just kind of straight out say whether you should actually be using him. Is he a useful hero? Absolutely. If you can get him to like legendary plus, he can be a very tanky hero. If you get him to mythic plus, that is when the combos really start happening with his additional knockdown duration, really locking down the enemy team. But we need to talk about a couple different things. Without this hero focus, he's missing a ton of HP. If you take a look at his stats here, 2.1 million HP, 48 physical and magic. That's pretty much in line with like a lot of other heroes. Some of them have, of course, more HP, like Thorn with lower other stats. If we want to take a look at some other very popular tanks, like Granny is a good comparison too. Less HP, more physical and defense. So overall, his stats aren't crazy all over the place. But one thing I do have to say is the fact that he does get an insane amount of HP boosting in combination with hero focus and your faction bonus. If you have a really strong faction bonus, he becomes insanely tanky. Again, Prowling Roots is kind of the most important thing here. He does have some really cool abilities though. His shield is really a nice survivability tool. And of course, if he is in his backline mode, if he does take a ton of damage, he'll apply this shield and everything to an ally in the front of the battlefield, which is cool. I just don't have many situations where he's the one to die first. It's usually other melee heroes that do tend to die first. Way of the Forest. Tons of healing on this hero just naturally. Every single second he's recovering HP, whereas other heroes require some ability to kind of do that. It can be good. It's decent. Verdant Berry is a really good one, but that's mainly because we have him at Supreme Plus. At Supreme Plus, when that shield breaks, it knocks enemies back, which synergizes perfectly with this additional 2-second duration knockdown just on himself. And then his season ability, I think, is probably one of the weakest things here. He shoots a projectile at target every 2 seconds. Your control effect lasts on the target. If we're talking about damage dealing tanks here, like if we just go to straight up tanks in this list, Damage is a more offensive tank. Even Phraesto is a more offensive tank. Thorn is a more offensive one. Granny can even out damage him as well. I would say his damage is kind of in line with like Lucius and Antandra kind of. He's an interesting hero because, again, I really feel like you need combinations with him to work. And what is the best combination with him? Well, I mean, I think we can all kind of agree. Having him on your team, kind of, again, I'm so tired of saying this, but Aaron is at the core. He's the cornerstone of every combination. Now, in certain situations, it might be worth going for him. If you don't already have a Granny built up to Mythic Plus or higher, he can be a good substitute. They fill a similar role, but they do very different things. She's tankier herself. He's more of a secondary tank slash support hero. He fills a similar role, in my opinion, to Lucius, where they play this role where they're supporting other melee characters and stuff like that. Can be very good, but not necessarily completely meta. Let's be honest, the complete meta tank right now is Phraesto because he has that extra illusion, but hands up in chat if you actually have this hero. You probably don't. If you're a whale Megalodon, you have him because that's how you push deficit. If you don't, then you need to look at other solutions. Really, Thorin has not been used in quite a while. He's still used in like Dream Realm and stuff, but again, he's not really one that you're going to use for pushing because he's very weak in the front, and then when he dies, it just exposes your whole back row. I will say, I personally like Ulmus better than Granny and better than Thorin. I think he has a really interesting kit, and the one thing he does really well is he does an amazing job surviving. You can see here we have a 3+2, another 15%. This is kind of like a weird quirky team we got kind of going on here with a smoky type DPS, but you gotta remember our deficit is not huge right now. We're only like at a 100 deficit, essentially. It's not a huge difference here. There's some people literally pushing 200 deficit that just live and breathe all day on this game, trying to reroll, manually cast ultimates. That's not really what I've been doing. I try to pick heroes that just kind of, they can do what they need to do occasionally well here. This team not working great, but you can see here, he has some insane survivability. His healing, you can watch his HP bar. It just keeps going back up and up. And I know I'm not trying to show you a clear here. I'm trying to show you his overall survivability skills. And it's one of the best survivability tanks in the game because he also has the ability to knock enemies down. And you can see these three heroes are three of my favorite right now. Between all of them, they're just so good. Again, once he finally does teleport to the back line, his healing goes away. He instead gets energy, but to be honest, his damage is just kind of non-existent. So if you're looking for some sort of tank that can do some other stuff too, it's not there. But man, oh man, can he tank some damage, and man, oh man, can he kind of you know, a good example might be if we throw him in and put Granny in the same lineup to see how they perform, because they pretty much have the same exact investment. Granted, the team isn't necessarily synergized as well. You'll notice Granny does have some good AoE in comparison. She does have some good self-sustain and everything, but overall as a team, the team is weaker because a lot of what Ulmus doesn't even quantify on the skill sheet or how in combat works. You can see the difference. Granny and him are basically the same, and our team dies so much faster. That does bring me to the last part of this video though, and that is, again, should you even consider going for the rate up banner? And the answer is not right now. I would not immediately try to build this hero. I do think a lot of people that don't have Phraesto are going to use him when pushing deficit. But again, we're not pushing 200 deficit. We don't have those Paragon heroes and everything right now. We're going to be sticking to like the 100, 150. I'm going to see how far I can push with an Ulmus team versus my Phraesto. I'm going to see what waves I get stuck on with him versus the Phraesto team. But overall, I do think he is really, really good. The only issue I have is he's not impactful enough, I think, for the average player to drop diamonds and rate up invite letters on him. He might by the time we get to close to the next banner, but right now I would say just continue saving. Overall usefulness is still good, just not great. And then we also have to figure out when these heroes actually come to the store. We'll probably be talking about that later on. Soren's banner didn't immediately come through. I don't know if it's going to be like at the end of a season, all A-level heroes hit the dream store. We don't really know just yet. But overall, I like the hero. I would probably give him around an A score overall, just on from all my testing I've done. You'll see a lot of those fruits of those labors here later in the weekend. I just wanted to get this one out right away instead of leaving it to the end of the weekend. But let me know what you guys think. Overall, you really don't even need to invest in his weapon either, because it doesn't really do much. You just need to get to Mythic Plus to really make it start going good. And yeah, just another good hero. Has a niche that he's very good at. It's gonna be absolutely horrible in Dream Realm. I think if a hero isn't like god tier in Dream Realm, PvP, and in AFK battles, there's no point building them. I feel like the last one we had was like Alsa. Honestly, Alsa, Floribel, and Valo were all pretty solid. I can't really complain about them. They were kind of side grades to other heroes. And again, this feels like another hero that's like a side grade to other heroes as well. So let me know what you guys think. That is my kind of first day take of Ulmus. Definitely wait, and I'll see you guys next time.